Today we've got lots to talk about as always. We're going to talk about a new wave of strikes at Heathrow Airport in London. We've also got to talk about what's going on with the Royal Princess. We talked about the Sky Princess the other day and generator problems, so we've got to talk about those kinds of things. And then finally, I'm going to walk through you the disembarkation in Seattle when we just disembarked from Holland America's Eurodam. The process is very similar if you're going on a princess ship out of that same port there, because they are docked next to each other and they share that same terminal building. So I wanted to walk you through that and a little bit of information that I think you will find helpful no matter where you are cruising in the world to get your luggage from the airport out to the cruise ship. Lots of options. Let's talk about that today as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Thursday, it's June 8th of 2023, and let's start off with Heathrow strikes. So the security workers there at the Heathrow International Airport in London have just announced that from June 24th through August 27th of this year, they are going to choose 31 days in that basically 2-month window there to go on strike. So the net effect of that to all of the travelers is there may be really long lines to check in at security to go on your flight. So clearly keep this in mind as a heads up if you are going to fly through Heathrow between June 24th and August 27th to really allow a lot of extra time to check in at security, like hours. Gordon and I are going to be going through Heathrow to fly in and fly out during that time window. So come to our live tomorrow night, Friday night at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll tell you all about where we're going to go and why we chose it and everything that goes with it. But we are going to be there, so I will let you know about it. Now, if you were here with us last year, or if you traveled to Heathrow last year, you will know that they had lots of baggage trouble. We have not heard of any baggage trouble in Heathrow so far this year. So if any of you have gone on a cruise yet in or out of Heathrow, flying in or out to go out of Southampton or to connect somewhere else, let us know how it was. But everything that I can find, we're not having baggage problems this year. We're just going to have to allow a lot of extra time to be able to check in. And so these workers, the security workers, are striking because they want more of a raise than is being offered. I think that things in the United Kingdom are like they are here and pretty much all around the world, that prices have gone up so steeply that they want their pay to increase as well. So that's why they are striking. And the terminals that are going to be affected that they have announced so far is Terminal 3 and Terminal 5. And apparently this is the first time that Terminal 3 has been included in the strike. So I'm sure they're doing it now at this heavy travel season to try to nudge the powers that be to go ahead and meet their demands to pay them more. So heads up. Next up, let's talk about the Royal Princess. A Let's Go family member on board let us know that right now the Royal Princess is limping back to port after having generator problems. It impacted the cruise enough that they missed an hour and a half of their time in Ketchikan, and they are going to completely miss their call in British Columbia. So to me, that's a really big impact on a cruise. So let's talk about generator trouble for a minute, and I want to hear from you in the comments what you think about this. And then we're going to talk about getting money because of these things happening. That's kind of a whole different thing, but I want to make sure we cover that. So first of all, they mentioned that they missed that time, plus room service is not running on the ship. So I don't know why room service isn't working, but nobody can order any room service. So, which makes you wonder how the medallion's working, doesn't it? If you can't order room service, I wonder if you can be somewhere else on the ship and order food on your medallion and have it delivered to you. That's a good question. Anyway, so they said that because of these, the impact that this had on their cruise, Princess gave everyone $50 for their hassle. So this leads me to a couple of things. First of all, I keep on hearing of a lot of generator trouble, and maybe it's just because we talk about Princess so much here, but remember the Sky Princess just had it on sailings in Norway. They were worried that it was going to impact their time in port in Bergen. Fortunately, they were able to get the generator fixed and everything done so that they were actually a little bit early to Bergen. Now with this thing with the Royal Princess, it reminds me a lot of last year with the Crown Princess. Remember all the trouble they had last year? Here's the two different things to me. Last year, when the Crown Princess was having so much trouble, remember the generator, they were missing ports, they were having shorter port times because of the generator problems that they were having. Well, Princess ended up giving the people on those cruises some future cruise credit because they really truly did not have the cruise that they anticipated. There are a lot of other troubles on the Crown Princess as well. But what makes me wonder, last year we kind of thought, you know what, the ships have missed some of their dry docks due to COVID. Things are just not going as smoothly with maintenance and all of those things that we would expect. But this year, we're a whole nother year later. And I do know that there is routine maintenance that cruise ships have to do, but to have a generator not work so that a cruise ship is limping back, it makes me wonder if they're not doing the maintenance or if there are other factors at play. So let me know if any of you hear anything else about this or have anything to add to that conversation, all right? The next thing, though, that goes with that is getting paid when you miss ports. Now, we talked about the Sapphire Princess the other day, and when I talked about that, I said, you know, when you go on a cruise, you know that sometimes you're going to have to miss ports due to weather, things that you can't help, right? And so often you don't get paid any money. You don't get future cruise credit for it, and you don't get any onboard credit for it. It is just something that happens, and it's part of the experience of going on a cruise, and you really can't control it. At the same time, I kind of wonder about the sailing with the Royal Princess right now. Because of that, they have missed not like a third of their trip, but a chunk of it with not being able to go to British Columbia and missing time in Ketchikan. To me, missing an hour and a half in Ketchikan is a big deal. Ketchikan is one of those ports that has a shorter port time, even if you're there on Princess or Holland America, those two cruise lines have the longest port stays unless you're on a luxury cruise ship there in Alaska. And so to lose an hour and a half, I think really impacts your stay. It's going to affect probably your excursions if you booked one that took most of the time that you're in port. So let us know if you're on that ship and kind of what all that affected. Now, at the same time, you know, you wonder if Princess is going to give them more than just $50. Now, the other part of that discussion is the port fees and taxes. So when I was talking about the Sapphire Princess the other day and saying that sometimes we just don't get reimbursed when an emergency like rescuing people off of a ship that caught on fire happens, at the same time, there are port fees and taxes that you pay for when you pay for your cruise. And historically, always on Princess, that any time that we have been on a Princess cruise and missed a port, we always have been refunded the port fees and taxes right onto our onboard account. It just automatically shows up. We don't have to go ask for it. It's just automatically there. So those of you on the Royal Princess, let us know if you're automatically reimbursed for those, because that's really important. If you've been here with me for a while, I did a video when we were on board the Norwegian Breakaway, because we missed port and they did not give that money back. We went down to ask for it at customer service, and you only got it if you asked for it, and then they wouldn't refund it to you. You had to spend it somewhere on the ship, which was, I think, a little silly. But anyway, so let us know if you're getting reimbursed. So if you do miss a port, you are supposed to get those port fees and taxes back. You're not guaranteed to be paid anything by the cruise line for your trouble and for missing part of your cruise, but you should get those port fees and taxes back. So let us know what happens. I wanted to be super duper clear on that. Now, the other thing that goes along with that is we looked at Cruise Mapper. So Cruise Mapper is actually a very amazing website, and they list a whole bunch of information about different cruise ships. Because I've been hearing about generator problems on Princess more, I thought, well, is it because we are more well connected on Princess? Because we've cruised on it so much? So I went and looked, and what they do on Cruise Mapper is they list every time something happens on a cruise ship, like if it catches on fire. So that Wilderness Discover fire on the uncruised cruise line is listed there now. The one that the Sapphire Princess had to rescue passengers from. So that is listed, but every time anything happens, so like a fire, if there are technical issues as far as like structural issues, things like that. They also say like if someone dies, if they have to be medevaced, all of these different things. So we went through and looked at those we just went back kind of to the beginning of the year. And they list if there's an outbreak of the norovirus, all of these kind of things. So there is no, since the beginning of the year, there has been no trouble with celebrity. They had norovirus like all of the cruise ships do, a little bit, but they have not had any generator problems, nothing to slow down their cruises or impact their itineraries in that way. The Carnival Sunshine had structural and technical issues on May 26th. And then on June 1st, the Carnival Panorama had propulsion and power loss as well. But it is really quite rare for these things to happen, and so I'm wondering why we're hearing of them happening a little bit more on a couple of princess ships. It worries me a little bit. I would really like to know what's going on. So if any of you have any thoughts or happen to know, let us know. And if you're on board the ship, try to ask a crew member and say, do you know why we keep having trouble with this? So there's that discussion for you. And I really do value your input and your comments, so make sure you put those below for us. Another thing we're going to talk about here, let's just kind of go through for a minute, embarkation and disembarkation. So we were just going a round trip out of Seattle on the Holland America Eurodam, and the Royal Princess was docked right there next to us. So here's a few thoughts. They use the same building there, so embarkation went much smoothly than we have been hearing about, and I talked about that in our live and in a video that I put out that day, so you can go back and catch that if you want to. Really, one important thing that I want you to know when you are embarking on a cruise, no matter where you are in the world, pretty much, okay? And definitely in Alaska, definitely in the Caribbean, definitely in Europe, definitely in like the Mexican Riviera. When you're at the airport and you decide that you are going to take the Princess Transfer, the Holland America Transfer, the Celebrity Transfer, you catch those transfers two ways. You either book a hotel with the cruise line, and they'll pick you up when you fly in the day before. They'll take you to the hotel, and in the morning they will take you on a transfer to the ship. If you do that kind of transfer, when you get done with your luggage the morning of your cruise and you go to get on that transfer, they take your luggage for you, and the next time you will see it will be in your stateroom. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is when you land, if say you get there the night before, right? So you go to your hotel, and we always like to do the things especially if we're flying in late and then the cruise goes the next day. We always stay at a hotel that is by the airport, and then we take the free air shuttle from the hotel. They'll come and pick you up, take you over to the hotel. In the morning, we take the free shuttle from the hotel back to the airport. They'll drop you at baggage claim, and then you go find the cruise line that you're looking for to take the transfer. You say, hi, I'm here. They find your name on the list, or if you decide last minute you want to do it, you can tell them and they'll add you to the list and then charge you for the transfer. But you say, here you check in, and then they take your luggage. And then the next time you see your luggage is when they deliver it to your stateroom. Okay? To me, that is the easiest way to do it. If you are someone that you're staying somewhere else and you're going to get a cab or an Uber, whatever, down to the ship, when you arrive there, there are porters there waiting to take your luggage. You give them your luggage, and then they will take care of it, and you'll have your luggage tag on it that goes with the cruise ship that you're on. It'll have your cabin number on there, so they take it right then. You don't have to take it with you through check-in or anything. They'll take your luggage right there, and then you'll see it again in your stateroom. Okay, I hope that's clear. If you have any other questions about how to get your luggage from like onto the ship or anything like that, just let me know. And I will add, I always have a little carry-on that I pull with my tote bag on top of it, and I just keep that with me. I turn in our other luggage and I just keep that with me, and it works really well. I have in there the things that I want to have on the ship if it takes a while to get our luggage. So that's what I do. Now, so yeah, like I said, let me know if you've got any questions. Now, disembarkation there in Seattle went really, really smoothly when we were disembarking last Saturday. So here's some things to keep in mind. First of all, when you're on Holland America, like the other cruise lines, you have a time that you're going to get off. It coordinates with the color and number on your luggage tags that you attach to your suitcases the night before. And then they pick them up out in the hall, and then the next time you see them is in the main building there for the cruise terminal. So with Holland America, everything was going really smoothly. We got off on time, even a little bit early. We got our luggage, and so what we did is we decided to get a porter. Porters are wonderful. They have those carts, and you just show them your luggage. They put it on the cart for you, and in some ports they'll have it so that they have an expedited line if you're with a porter. In Seattle, they don't. So he went over on one side, and we went ahead and went through customs or border patrol there. In Seattle there, literally, he just glanced at your passport. There was no facial recognition, nothing. You just walked up to the person and had your passport open, and they took a look at it and let you go. So the lines were going super fast. It was not a long line at all, and they had several lines open. So it was a super fast disembarkation as far as going through border patrol, through customs. Now, a really important thing to remember is that if you're not going with your passport, your driver's license and your birth certificate. Right in front of us were people who thought they would just show the border patrol guy their driver's license and get through. Oh no, you had to show your original certified copy of your birth certificate and your driver's license. Like, they had to pull over. They were starting to go through their luggage trying to locate that birth certificate. So heads up, you really do have to have both of those. And it's not a cruise line requirement. That is Border Patrol. That's U.S. Customs. So be aware that you really have to have that. So anyway, we got through, and having a porter is so nice. He just moves us right along. We went down. We had the Princess transfer. And so when you come out in Seattle there is the line to the right of all these transfer buses literally lined up. They just fill them, and then they go, and they just keep filling them. On the other side to your left is where you go get in line if you want a taxi or an Uber. So the lines for the taxis and the Uber was really, really long, and the line of cars trying to come in, like the Ubers and that, was really long as well. And so unless you have a certain reason that you want to take a taxi or an Uber, I would say it's just easiest and quickest to take the transfer. And that would be, so since Princess and Holland America were sharing that terminal building, we had Princess and Holland America people on the bus. Everyone on the transfer bus, everyone was just being directed right to those buses you got on, and they took us right to the airport. So I just wanted you to know it worked really good. That our porter was very nice. He stood with us. He helped us find the bus that they were loading at the time. He put the luggage down underneath the bus for us. Just worked really slick, and of course we gave him a good tip. That's really important to remember, to give good tips to people that help you and do things like that. But that's just a really nice option. Yes, we could have rolled our luggage, but it just made it a little bit smoother, and I like to support people who are there to work. And anyway, so I wanted you to know that that worked really, really smoothly. If you are disembarking on Holland America there, I thought it was really interesting. They walked you through a lot of the ship. It reminded me of how Norwegian has done it both times. The Encore that we went on out of Miami, and also the Breakaway that we went on out of New Orleans, they walk you, like, you go through the dining room, you go through the theater thing, you go through, you know, all these different places. And that's how Holland America was doing it there. I don't know exactly why they do it that way. It must just be the best way to direct people. So just be ready to walk, and if you're pulling your own luggage, be aware that you don't just go down and hop off. You have to walk. The line goes through. It's quite a walk there, so wanted to make sure you know that. And if you can't walk a ways, then go ahead and request that wheelchair. So if any of you have any questions about embarkation, disembarkation there in Seattle, make sure that you put those in the comments below. And if you have questions about anything else, I would really appreciate hearing from you on that as well. So I really appreciate all of you being here with me. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. I always say this, but I really mean it. We need you with us, and would love to have you in our Let's Go family. And we share so much valuable information here. It's an amazing community that we've got. If you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? It actually really does help us. It lets YouTube know that someone likes our content, and it shows it to more people, which helps us out. So I appreciate you all, and I will be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.